Inside a Hollywood bank, two notorious criminals carry out an armed robbery. Outside, 15 police officers have them surrounded.
They're gonna drop the money, drop the gun, put their hands up and give up.
But what happens next sparks one of the most violent gun battles in modern police history.
This was completely automatic, man. They were just blasting away.
A dangerous scenario is now a critical situation.
Officers stay down south is still being fired.
Had a sense that, you know what, this could be it.
Law enforcement in Los Angeles will never be the same again. Police officer Martin Whitfield takes a bullet in the thigh. 5 inches of bone shatter. Another round strikes him in the chest. He falls to the ground.
9089, I'm losing consciousness. 9089, hang in there.
His fellow officers can hear him and can see him, but they can't get to him. February 28, 1997. It's a dangerous time to be a police officer in LA. On average, 3 armed robberies take place every day. And somewhere in the city, 2 people will die from gunshot wounds. For the last 6 months, police have lobbied hard for more powerful weaponry to take on criminals. But these are politically sensitive times. Since the beating of Rodney King sparked the 1992 LA riots, the LAPD is cautious.
We are well prepared to deal with any eventualities of civil unrest.
The officers' requests for bigger guns haven't been granted. In the same city, a mountain of seized weapons proves that criminals are able to acquire all kinds of artillery. 26-year-old Larry Phillips is the leader of a pair of criminals known to the LAPD as the High Incident Bandits. He collects his own personal armory. His partner in crime is 30-year-old Emil Matasareanu. He's 287 pounds and suffers seizures as a result of epilepsy. He follows Phillips's orders. The security footage shows that the two, carrying machine guns, are on a deadly mission. They aren't afraid to use their weapons. Over the past 2 years, the high-incident bandits have pulled off at least 3 robberies, netting almost $2 million. They're not just armed robbers. They're wanted for murder. During a raid in 1995, they killed a security guard with an AK-47. Today, the high-incident bandits are planning their biggest job yet. A robbery on a Bank of America branch in North Hollywood. Four miles away at a police station, new recruit James Zaborovan gets ready for his shift. His beat is North Hollywood, and being a police officer is a lifelong ambition.
My goals were to finish probation as a rookie, get as much knowledge base as possible, and then work a variety of assignments and have a long, healthy career.
Zaborovan prepares his Beretta 92F handgun. A basic but reliable semi-automatic pistol. It holds 15 rounds and fires a single shot with every pull of the trigger. Phillips and Matasareanu are equipped with more powerful weapons. They'll escalate criminal firepower to new heights. even by their own lethal standards. Of his 5 machine guns, Phillips' favorite rifle is the AK-47. Made in Romania, it can fire 600 rounds a minute with a range of 4,920 feet. Fully automatic, the Kalashnikov can fire non-stop. With the pull of the trigger, it pins down the target in a hail of bullets. Phillips ensures he'll get the most out of his AK-47s by acquiring illegal 100-round drums. Banned in California, the high-capacity weapons minimize the need for reloading. The pair stashed their rifles, 3 handguns, and 3,000 rounds of ammunition into the trunk of a Chevy. They head for Laurel Canyon Boulevard, North Hollywood, where the local Bank of America is open for business. John Villagrana, the branch's assistant manager, arrives late for work. He's got a hectic day ahead, and it's about to get busier.
As soon as I walk in the lobby, first thing I look is the clients in the lobby. It's very busy. Second, I look at my teller line, look and see how many employees I've got, how many tellers I've got open. And I notice that I'm short 1. I say, well, great. So first thing I got to open up before I start getting complaints.
It's payday, the last Friday of the month, when the bank usually has the most cash. The bulk of the money is stored in a steel vault at the rear of the building. The bank, one of the busiest in LA, sits on 21,500 square feet along Laurel Canyon Boulevard. It has 2 main entrances and 2 parking lots, one to the south and the other to the north. Larry Phillips makes his final preparations. He and Mataseranu take a prescription drug called phenobarbital, which will calm their nerves. Then, Phillips puts in place the last piece of his elaborate plan. He knows that as soon as they walk in brandishing weapons, the staff will trigger an alarm. But Phillips has been listening to police scanners and has done the math. He figures it will take police about 8 minutes to get to the scene. They set their watches to alert them when 8 minutes is up. The North Hollywood shootout is underway. In an extraordinary coincidence, just 66 feet away, 2 officers drive past in their patrol car. They suspect that the giant black-clad figures are the notorious high-incident bandits. The officers pull up and report a suspected 211 police code for an armed robbery.
We have a possible 211 in progress at the Bank of America.
The officers outside are stunned to hear automatic gunfire.
Bank of America. We got hammocks fired.
Patrol cars race to the scene. 4 minutes into the robbery, the stage is set for the most dramatic police gun battle ever waged on U.S. soil. As police close in on a bank robbery in North Hollywood, over 50 rounds have been fired inside. Officers fear there's been a civilian massacre. To protect the public, the police must form a perimeter. Behind the bank is a wall over 6.5 feet high that borders residential homes. Across the street is a large parking lot servicing stores and businesses. An officer parks in the north lot. Veteran Ed Brentlinger is shocked to hear gunfire inside the bank.
This was completely automatic, man. They were just blasting away, and there were more bullets than there could have been people inside the bank, and it just seemed like they were shooting a lot.
Brentlinger takes cover behind the bank's rear wall. He knows from the sound of the machine guns that he's up against the high-incident bandits.
What made them unique was the viciousness. I mean, they didn't care about life at all. They'd go up and without even telling these guards from these banks, give me your money, they'd just go up and blast them.
Carefully outside you.
Another officer parks at Laurel Canyon and Archwood, a junction north of the bank.
59 on 13, carefully outside.
Father of three, Martin Whitfield has just dropped his kids off at school. Back at home, his fiancée, Kim Coleman, listens in on a walkie-talkie. She's training to be a police radio operator and needs the experience. She hears Martin confirm that he's at the scene, followed by reports of gunfire.
More shots are being fired from inside the bank.
All units, officers requesting help. Lower Canyon North of Kittredge at the Bank of America. Shots are being fired.
I kind of clinched. I stood still. I did not move. I kind of clinched because it was like I was bracing myself, wanting to hear what his next words would be.
Next to Whitfield is Sergeant Dean Haynes. He spots unsuspecting customers walking towards the bank and orders them to take cover behind his vehicle. Officers know from experience that a patrol car can provide life-saving protection. But Tracy Fisher isn't so sure.
My first instinct was, oh my God, we are not in a very good place.
James Zaborovan and his partner, Stuart Guy, park in the lot opposite the bank. They take shelter behind a kiosk. A perfect strategic position. From here, they can cover the building's two exits, the north door and the south door. Rookie Zaborovan is convinced they got the situation covered.
We were all set, ready to go. The bank is basically surrounded. They're going to drop the money, drop the gun, put their hands up and give up.
Zaborovan's fellow officers position themselves with their 9mm handguns. But he holds an Ithaca 12-bore pump-action shotgun. The Beretta pistols have an optimum range of about 100 feet, but his shotgun can fire a concentrated spread of bullets twice as far. He's 130 feet from the bank. From this distance, it's an easy shot. Phillips and Matasauranu want access to the vault. From their months of reconnaissance, they know who holds the keys. Assistant Manager John Villagrana. He's crouching behind the counter. Matasauranu blasts his way through a bulletproof security door to get to him. It's only designed to withstand small arms fire.
And I can feel the nozzle of the rifle being placed on my back. He hit me with the rifle on the side of the head, like, I mean business. And I said, well, let's go to the vault.
John unlocks the vault and opens the lockers where the cash is stored. To the gunman's surprise, there's not nearly as much money as they were expecting. To thwart criminals, Bank of America varies their cash delivery times. Today's supply has not yet arrived.
I'm not emptying in the amount of cash that maybe he was expecting. I can feel it in his tone. Now he's getting a little more aggressive. He's saying, where's all of it? I want you to open up all of it, you know? He got upset. So what does he do? He opens fire in all the money that's in that cabinet. And I could see he's not believing me because he's all of a sudden he got very quiet. But now he's putting his nozzle on me. And I was thinking, well, you know, this is it. this is really it for me now. Wow, can't be. It's too soon, you know? I didn't even say goodbye to my daughter. I didn't.
Outside, officers fear multiple casualties, so they call every available ambulance. It's exactly 8 minutes since the start of the robbery. Time for the gunmen to make their escape. They've got $300,000, a fraction of what they'd expected. Mataserano exits the building's south door, while Phillips exits the north. The gunmen were expecting only a few police cars to be just arriving. Phillips is stunned to see dozens of officers waiting to shoot them down. They cover every escape route, blocking off junctions north and south of the bank. The police have cornered the robbers, but they have no idea what Phillips has in mind. He hates the police. Since his teenage years, he's been in trouble for shoplifting and fraud. He's already served 3 months in jail for possession of illegal firearms. Now it's payback time.
And they just brought up these 2 huge guns, and that was the beginning of about 45 minutes. The car pieces were hitting us in the head, in the arms, in the legs, and with such velocity, and they were so hot that it was burning through our clothes. You think of shrapnel, you think of men in a war. You don't think of being in your neighborhood on a nice day.
But the war on the streets of Los Angeles has only just begun. Gunmen Larry Phillips and Emil Mataserano unload AK-47s on police and civilians outside a bank in North Hollywood. A bullet exits the Kalashnikov. Police are convinced that the patrol car will provide cover, but the slug slices straight through the metal. Another bullet hits Tracy Fisher. Her body reacts immediately to the trauma. A blast injury triggers a release of natural pain-killing chemicals called endorphins. The nerves go into shock, numbing the victim.
At first, it was too surreal to really get what was happening. I knew I had been shot, but it felt like somebody had taken a baseball bat and hit my foot.
The suspect possibly had armor-piercing ammunition.
Phillips's obsession with weaponry has given him the upper hand. He combed the world for ammunition to defeat the police ambush. He found steel-plated bullets made in the former Soviet bloc, which can penetrate car metal. He bought them by the thousand. Each steel-coated slug exits the AK-47 at over half mile per second, with a range of 2,790 feet. For police and civilians, nowhere is safe from their destructive power.
We are all pinned down by automatic gunfire.
He had automatic weapons with armor-piercing rounds. You know, for every one we shot, they would shoot 50. It's almost like we're shooting slingshots.
Their only hope is that the criminals will leave the scene. 7 minutes into the robbery, Mataserano climbs into the Chevy and shouts at Phillips to do the same. Officers pray they'll make their getaway without more bloodshed.
If they had wanted to get away at that point, they could have drove out that parking lot right then.
But Phillips knows he's packing the bigger weapons, and he's not finished yet. His loyal stooge, Mattisaranu, joins him. The LAPD is faced with an unprecedented scenario. Robbers who want to stay and fight.
We had never dealt with a situation like that in the history of law enforcement in this country. I mean, this was the first time that they had a shootout of that magnitude.
Within seconds, Sergeant Dean Haynes is shot. He radios for help.
Colby, all officers stay down. Shots are being fired from AK-47. There's an officer down.
One of the operators fielding calls at the control center is Guadalupe de la Cruz. She's still training to qualify as a radio operator, but she understands the seriousness of Officer Haynes' transmission.
The worst call that we can possibly get as a radio telephone operator is an officer down, an officer that's injured. That's our highest priority. I'm advising all the divisions around that he's injured, there's outstanding suspects, and that there's still shots being fired.
There's an officer down.
James Zaborovan is still taking cover behind the kiosk with his 12-gauge shotgun. When he hears the words, "Officer down," he makes a big decision. By now, 2 detectives have joined Zaborovan and his partner Stuart Guy behind the kiosk.
As soon as I pumped the shotgun, I broke out in a cold sweat.
But he's the only officer on the front line packing the shotgun. It's got the range to take the gunman down. And he's an ace marksman. 9 pieces of buckshot streak across the street and strike Larry Phillips in the upper body. It's a textbook police body shot, and he waits for the gunman to go down. But, concealed under bulky clothes, Phillips is wearing body armor from neck to toe. He spent weeks painstakingly cutting and stitching bulletproof material called aramid into full bodysuits. Both men reinforced their armor with metal plates over their vital organs. Phillips carries more than 40 pounds of protection, about the equivalent of 5 bowling balls. 5 times stronger than steel, aramid can withstand the force of the pellets. It is flexible enough to absorb the energy.
Phillips spun around, immediately locked on in our position, and for a split second or two, we were looking at each other. He raised that AK-47 and began spraying the fully automatic gunfire. Bullets were racing through the key shop. We were being, hit with shrapnel, and I had realized that the detectives weren't wearing body armor.
Zaborovan shields the detectives as best he can. Like Phillips, he's wearing body armor. But his standard issue Kevlar vest is built to resist lead projectiles from small arms, not steel-coated bullets from a high-velocity rifle. A slug rips through his vest and into his lower back. A second bullet enters his side and exits his upper leg.
It was a very, very intense burning sensation. Almost like I was on fire.
After that, it's just every other call that came out was just officers going down. It was very scary to hear them scared, to hear them hurt and not being able to help each other.
You didn't know how many officers are down? We have one.
That was the scariest part. It's not supposed to happen that way.
One other officer has been hit. We are declaring attack alert.
Radio control alerts a SWAT unit, but it will take them time to get to the scene. Until then, officers must fend for themselves. At the junction of Laurel Canyon and Archwood, north of the bank, Martin Whitfield is next to go down.
Officer down at the southwest corner of Hickory and Laurel Canyon.
Whitfield's fiancée, Kim, is listening to the terrifying shootout on a police radio at home.
I screamed. I screamed so loud because you're not there. You know, all I heard him say is that he was shot. And for all I knew at that point, that could have been his last words.
The gunmen fire at anything that moves. News crews arrive and capture these extraordinary images. Police and medics scramble for cover, unable to get to the injured. This is a critical situation. Something needs to be done, and fast. The gunmen have shot 6 police officers and 2 civilians. Dozens more shelter behind cars and walls, but they're in mortal danger. News choppers now circle above, providing a live grandstand view to millions of TV viewers.
They were actually firing on us right now.
On the ground, officers watch their bullets bounce off the gunman's armor.
He had body armor all up and down, and our 9mm weren't penetrating. That would just put a stark fear into you because you're thinking, I've already shot at this guy 27 times, and it's like, wow, what, that's not fair.
Got heavy body armor. Go for the head.
To end the battle, someone needs to shoot the gunman in the head. But officers are too far away to hit the target with their handguns. James Zaborovan has been shot twice, but he's determined to survive.
I said to myself, just because you're shot doesn't mean you're going to die. I'm not going to lay there and resign myself to death. I'm going to get up and fight, take cover, what have you, but I'm not going to stay there.
He can't afford to wait for help. He spots the front door of a dental office and makes a run for it.
Phillips was shooting at us, and as I jumped through the door, his bullets hit and shatter the glass.
Zaborovan is safe, for now. Back in the danger zone, officers and civilians desperately search for escape routes. In the parking lot across the street, Zaborovan's partner Stuart Guy and Detective Tracy Angelis have fled the kiosk and hide behind 2 vehicles. But gunman Emil Matasaranu is starting to find his range. Stuart Guy is seriously injured. He knows from police training how to enhance his chances of surviving gunshot trauma. He stays as still as he can and controls his breathing. This slows his heart rate, which reduces his blood loss and buys him more time to get rescued. At the junction north of the bank, officers and civilians are still pinned down. Michael Horan bleeds heavily from a stomach wound, while Tracy Fisher is trying to keep him quiet.
We kept telling him, shut up. Please don't scream. Because we couldn't see the gunmen. We didn't know if they were going to walk around the car at any minute and just take us out. You wanted to survive, but then you kind of told yourself, well, if I die, just make sure I don't feel it. I don't want to know about it.
Put your hand on him. Touch his hand. Touch his hand.
You had a sense that, you know what, this could be it. felt bad for my mom. I didn't want my mom to have to be told, that her daughter was shot to death in a bank robbery.
Officer Whitfield and Sergeant Haynes realize nobody is coming to rescue them. When there's a break in firing, they run for help. Haynes trips and falls. Whitfield keeps running, while bullets whistle around him. He takes cover behind a tree. Once he reaches the tree, his momentum carries him around it, exposing him to Larry Phillips. A bullet hits him in the center of his femur bone. 5 inches of bone shatter. 2.3 inches splinter through his leg. A 4th bullet strikes him in the chest. Whitfield's distraught fiancée Kim hears his calls for help. She can't understand why officers on the scene aren't going in to rescue him.
I know where you're not. I'm losing consciousness. Laurel Canyon.
In sheer frustration, she calls his police station.
I said, if you don't go get him, I will. And I meant that. I meant that with every part of me, that no matter what, he was not going to lay there and die.
Whitfield continues to plead for help, using his radio ID code 9L89.
9L89, I need somebody to help.
9L89, hang in there.
The radio operator who gets his call is Guadalupe de la Cruz. She knows from her training how critical it is to keep Whitfield conscious.
If he stopped talking to me, then they would never find him. So that was just my biggest fear. I wanted to keep hearing his voice and making sure that he was still there.
9L89, 9837 is almost there. Hang in there.
I don't see how I am.
9L89, hang in there. 9837 is almost there.
9L89, thank you. Thank you for talking.
Just hang in there a little bit longer. Someone's going to get to you. They're going to find you. I am not going to be the last person you talk to.
Whitfield lies only 374 feet from the gunman, directly in their line of fire. Every available patrol car rushes to the scene, but the intensity of gunfire prevents them from going in. Among them, officers Todd Schmitz and Tony Kabunak listen in agony as Lupe de la Cruz pleads for someone to help Whitfield.
Any unit that's available to respond to 9L89, 6600 block of Laurel Canyon.
I have to save him. If I was in that position, man, I would want somebody to come help me.
He's losing consciousness. Officer has been hit.
But from what Kabunak's witnessed today, any rescue attempt is a potential suicide mission.
9L89, 9L89, come in.
Then Officer Whitfield stops responding.
9L89, 9L89, come in.
That's when my mind went to the worst case scenario. That's when my mind went to, he's gone.
Officer Kabunak can't bear to sit back and do nothing.
This is what I signed up for. If I'm going to be taken today, then so be it. But I'm definitely going to, take this stance and go in.
He races the car into the hail of gunfire.
We can hear shots being fired right over the top of us, next to us. Just kind of the whip of these stray bullets, whizzing by us.
But before they can get to Whitfield, they come across 2 other injured officers in the parking lot. Stuart Guy and Tracy Angelis. As he leads the rescue, Kabunak faces his greatest fear.
It sounds rather morbid, but you kind of think of your own mortality. And you wonder, if I do get hit, will I have an open casket on this?
rescue is a success, and the two officers are now safe. But Martin Whitfield is still bleeding to death in the kill zone. 18 minutes into the gun battle, the SWAT team finally arrives. SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. The first ever SWAT unit was formed in LA in 1967, specifically to tackle this type of emergency. The SWAT team carries automatic weapons at all times. Veteran Don Anderson recognizes the seriousness of the situation.
I mean, these individuals had just total disregard for human life. They fired 1,100 rounds in the city of Los Angeles, and when you fire those rounds, they have to land somewhere.
Before tackling the gunman, the SWAT unit has a more urgent priority: rescuing Officer Whitfield and the civilians. To do this, they need to head into the heart of the shooting. The question is, how? Then, one of the officers spots an armored truck with today's cash delivery. Could this 16.5-ton steel vehicle be just what they need to rescue Whitfield from the danger zone? 5 officers commandeer the truck. They climb in and drive straight through the gunfire towards Whitfield. He's still breathing, but he's lost several pints of blood and is barely conscious. They move his motionless body into the back of the truck. Now, they must rescue the civilians. But time is running out for one of them.
Mikey was bleeding a lot, and that's what concerned me. I mean, he was sitting in a pool of his own blood. And all I remember is trying to feel where the blood was coming from so I could at least put pressure on it. All of a sudden, we saw this armored vehicle come right 10 feet away from us and stop. And it was just like hearing angels' horns. I thought, oh my God, we are so rescued.
The SWAT team now turns its attention to taking down the gunman. But the robbers have other ideas.
We've just seen this white sedan pull up to the scene here. Now, this is a suspect.
Knowing the SWAT unit is packing automatic rifles, the gunmen make a break for it.
Okay, we have some gunfire right now going on. We just saw some puff of smoke coming out of the side.
Millions watch on TV as Larry Phillips leads on foot, while his partner drives the Chevy loaded with weapons and ammunition.
We've got one suspect driving the white vehicle from the north parking lot. We've got one suspect on foot. Vehicle, do not stop it. They've got automatic weapons. There's nothing we have that can stop them.
Officers desperately try to prevent them from entering a residential neighborhood. They shoot out all 4 tires. But this fails to stop them. Inexplicably, Phillips splits from his partner. It's not clear whether he's planning to escape or to inflict more collateral damage. But it does present officers with a trickier situation.
F-45 officers out here running into stay down. There's all kinds of ricochets flying. Stay down, everybody.
All officers stay down. Shots are still being fired.
This is obviously an accomplice here on this white vehicle here that we're seeing now drive quite erratically, possibly a wounded suspect at this point.
While officers wait for the SWAT team, there's confusion as to which robber they should pursue.
It's chaos. I mean, that's chaos. You got guys trying to look for cover. Some guys behind a telephone pole, behind a tree, behind a car, over the fence. I mean, there was guys everywhere.
What happens next is the critical turning point, and the police can't even see it. Hidden behind the truck, Phillips attaches a fresh 100-round drum to his AK-47 and continues to fire. A police bullet rips into the thumb on his left hand. He continues shooting, but moments later, his AK-47 suffers what's known as a stovepipe jam. After it fires a bullet, the AK-47 ejects the casing. But if the rifle suffers excess movement, a shell can become misaligned. It then gets trapped in the ejection port. To clear the jam, Phillips needs to flick the trapped shell with his thumb. But because his hand is badly injured, he can't fix it. He's forced to discard the AK-47 and produce his final weapon, a 9mm Beretta handgun. The same model as the one carried by the police.
Then I'm thinking, we're even now, buddy.
Officers have been waiting for this moment. But Phillips continues his shooting spree. He stoops to retrieve his dropped weapon and realizes there's no escape. Larry Phillips Jr. is dead. But his partner is still on the loose. He's got 3 automatic rifles and 2,000 rounds of ammunition.
Try to stay out of this area if you can. We have loose, armed, and dangerous suspects.
The North Hollywood shootout is not over yet. Bank robber Emil Matasaranou needs to exchange his damaged Chevy for a new getaway vehicle.
It appears like he's trying to coerce the other person to take his vehicle.
Eventually, he forces a truck to stop. He fires 3 rounds through the windshield at driver Bill Maher.
Back window, everything just turns to confetti, and pain sets in. All of that in the flash of an eye.
Covered in blood, Bill flees his truck. He's unaware of any injuries he may be suffering from.
My arm hurts, my head hurts, blood was gushing, but I'll figure that out later. My concern was getting away from the scene.
Matasaranou spots a patrol car speeding towards him. He fires a shot, then transfers his guns into the truck and climbs in. But he makes an alarming discovery. Bill has taken the keys. The patrol car speeds towards the truck, but it's not carrying regular officers. It's the SWAT team.
I fired 2 rounds through the windshield of the suspect's vehicle.
Anderson shoots the suspect in the chest. He thinks he's ended the gun battle.
I saw the suspect go down.
But the suspect is saved by his armor. To Anderson's horror, Matasaranou resurfaces.
And I thought, maybe I'm the world's worst shot.
They exchange more fire. Then Anderson's gun jams. A SWAT officer's worst nightmare. As he clears it, he looks under the car. He spots an opening in Matasaranou's armor. The suspect isn't wearing protection on his lower legs.
I proned out, aimed, and continued to fire at the suspect.
Finally, with bullets riddling his legs, Matasaranou goes down. He's been shot 29 times, but he's still alive. As SWAT officers move in to arrest him, Matasaranou has a final surprise.
As soon as the suspect was handcuffed, the only thing that he kept saying over and over was, shoot me, kill me. didn't respond to the suspect, we returned to the bank.
Police have no idea what awaits them inside the bank. They heard gunmen fire over 50 rounds before they exited, and fear there's been a massacre. They enter the building, but find nobody. Then, one officer notices the vault door slightly ajar and pulls it open. Customers and staff took refuge in the steel vault when the gunfight started outside. Miraculously, no one was shot or badly injured. Back in the war zone, medics clear the injured officers and civilians. Officers James Zaborovan and Martin Whitfield are rushed into surgery. Whitfield's fiancée, Kim, is brought to the hospital.
I remember they put me in a room and I paced and paced. And they would give periodic reports, every few minutes. We'll be right with you. We're going to take you to him. But they never said, he's okay. They never said, he's not. They just said, we're going to take you to him.
Back on the streets, one injured man is bleeding. Emil Mataserano lies for 70 minutes until his body succumbs to the trauma and he dies. His family accuses police of letting him bleed to death. The LAPD counters that ambulance personnel followed procedure in a hostile situation by not entering the hot zone. The high-incident bandits fired over 1,100 rounds of ammunition. That's a bullet every 2 seconds. What were they hoping to achieve? They could have made their getaway. When officers raided their apartment, they found tens of thousands of dollars and a possible cause for the gang's bizarre behavior. In the VCR was a copy of the 1995 Hollywood heist movie, Heat. The similarities between the film and the shootout are uncanny. Right down to the fight to the death conclusion. Did a violent fantasy overtake the mind of Larry Phillips? After the North Hollywood shootout, some officers in LA can now carry automatic rifles. James Zaborovan underwent several operations and suffers 2 herniated discs in his back. Despite constant pain, he's now a sergeant with the LAPD.
I was within an inch of that bullet hitting my spinal cord and paralyzing me from the waist down. I feel very fortunate that it didn't end my life or my career.
9 police officers and 2 civilians were shot that day. Amazingly, only the 2 robbers died. Even Martin Whitfield, the officer everyone feared dead, had survived. It took surgeons 8 hours to save him. He quit the LAPD and eventually made a full recovery.
I don't allow anyone to tell me how lucky I was. I don't buy it, and I don't let that pass. Luck is Vegas. Luck is horseshoe. This was an act of God, a stroke of his hand over the whole situation. 3,000 rounds, only the bad guy dies. This was a miracle for the entire world to see.